Okay, just a little about myself. For those that are wanting to know, I am 67 years of age, and for the last 45 years I have been researching a lot of this information. In the last probably 25 years I have been privileged to journey throughout the world over and over again, so that as a result of my journeys, then I am given access to information with a lot of high-profile people, and that's bankers, that's scientists, that's politicians, that's people in the high echelon. So a lot of what I want to share with you here is totally validatable. I'm not hypothesis in the sense making predictions that I cannot validate. So everything that I say here, I've tried to back up by this PowerPoint program that I have here. I've done into a PDF file, and as a result of it, it just gives some validity to what I'm saying. It is basically just a small caption or a preview of a data CD that I have done, and that's the actual data CD there, and it is called Agenda 21. And just unfaithful stewards. And what I mean by that is that people have a responsibility to begin to look after their territory, their home, their farm, whatever is given or whatever they've purchased. The problem is today we have a society that wants everybody else to do it for them. And so consequently, that's the aspect of what I say here, unfaithful stewards. We are not accountable, and we will not take the time to make others accountable. So consequently, government has come to a stage where they can just do whatever they like, and nobody seems to raise a voice and protest. So I say unfaithful stewards, and then I mention an agenda, UN Agenda 21. Now, just to break that down for you, UN, United Nations, Agenda 21. So it's an agenda that they have designated for the 21st century. Now you can get on their website and you can punch that into a search engine, and wherever you like to look around the world, you will find there is screeds and screeds of information, heaps of information concerning this very subject. So that whole data CD there is jam-packed full of information. So data CD opens on a computer, and as a result, if you want access to that, then I actually have a website. It is omegatimes.com, www.omega, O-M-E-G-A, times, T-I-M-E-S.com. And it's available there, and you can access us, and if you were wanting one, you can get a hold of it. Now, there are many that I have that I've produced over the years. This particular one has just been completed, and what it goes into is all the data information, a little of what I'm going to present here tonight, but also it is has got video clips, audio files, it has got PDF files, it has got Word files and documents, governmental banking documents from all around the world, and I'll explain a few of them tonight, and just to go through, just to catch you up, bring you up to speed as to what is happening. But this is scary stuff, there is no question about it. It is you know, alarming to say the least, and the thing that concerns me is that the populace of the world globally, and I travel internationally all over the world several times a year, and I'm in different countries all around the place. I've just spent virtually 6 weeks in Europe, in Brussels, the head of the EU, and then I was up in Luxembourg, which is the financial capital of the EU as well, and so consequently we visited 12 countries in 6 weeks that we were there. So that's just one of the countries. And I came back, I was home for a week or 10 days, and then I was into Hong Kong and then into China. So as a result, some of the things that I want to share with you are very, very relevant. Just 10 days ago I just came straight back from Malaysia. I'd been up there for 3 weeks. So I say that just to give you an understanding of the information that I have is right up to speed, right up to scratch, right up to date. So I'll begin by just making you aware of this particular subject and the title of this data CD, and there are screeds of information there. So if you want that, it is available, omegatimes.com. So let me dispense with that quickly, and let me just begin to direct my attention and your attention to some of the information that I just put onto a little slideshow that comes off this 210-page PDF book that I have put together. So this is one of the pages, and it'll give you a little idea of what I'm covering and how I'm trying to endeavor to get the information out and explain it. So let's begin, and it is Agenda 21, the United Nations formula for human annihilation. Now, immediately, if I am any judge of character and the responses that people give me as I travel around the world, the moment I make that, I get all sorts of castigation and laughter and rejection, and people treat it as a joke. But the truth of it is, everything I say to you here is validatable. And as I say, this is no joke, this is deadly serious. My concern is because people have no knowledge of what is going down, they just reject all of this information offhand. And what I'm trying to do is alert the people around the world to a lot of this that's happening. And as I said before, I talk to a lot of people, scientists and government officials, and they just say, you church people, you people that should know better, you just treat this like a joke, and as a result it just gives us the absolute opportunity to implement whatever we desire and whatever we choose, because you are ignorant, you are blind, and you are deaf and dumb as well, and you take no notice of what is happening in the world. Hitler once said, "Oh, how good it is for us that people never read." And that's the truth of this generation that we live in now. So I'm endeavoring to make you aware of what is happening. This is no joke. They intend, by the year 2030 was their projected date, to eliminate, eradicate 6 billion people off the planet Earth. Now, you can laugh and you can scoff and reject that, but you go on the United Nations and go onto your websites and go onto your computer and get a search engine, go through it, and you will find there are thousands and thousands of websites all over the world that are trying to alert the populace to this very issue and what is happening. So, Agenda 21 is very, very real. What they have done is they have sanitized all the actual terms that we are dealing with in our society today. For example, you will not hear them talk about a new world order very much. You will not hear them talk about world government anymore. What you will hear them talk about, all the officials and prime ministers and leaders, and they will use terms like this: global governance. And then they will call this very prominent term, often in the United Nations, the World Forum, and many, many different platforms around the world, they will use this term, sustainability. And what sustainability means is regulating the food to feed the mouths that are going to be left upon the earth. And just to give you an understanding, that may sound outlandish what I'm saying, that they will remove 6 billion people. But on this very CD that I talked about, I haven't included this information here, but one of the things that I have got on that data CD is Prince Philip. Prince Philip is making a statement before the World Forum, and he did it again before the United Nations, and they gave him a standing ovation. And this is what he declared. And you can get on the net and you can check it out and you'll find it is true. What he actually stood up and said was that if I had a choice to come back again in reincarnation, what I would do is I would choose to come back as a virulent virus, so that I would literally destroy and eradicate 90% of the world's population. to bring it back into a sustainable level. Now, Prince Charles is one of the ones that uses this term again very, very often, sustainability. What it means is bringing all of nature, as you will see in a moment, into a balance with humanity so that the plants, nature itself, the animals and humans will live in harmony, and there will never be allowed this overbalance of animals against people, or people against animals, or plants and nature, literally, to get out of balance. And so it's bringing the world into a sustainable level. So it is written in many documents. There is no question about that. You will find as we go on through here that there is a very, very, very secretive group of people that are very few in number that control virtually all the actual companies, certainly the Fortune 500 companies, and all the major manufacturing and military companies across the world. And this incestuous group of leaders brings it down to around about 150 was the last count. And it was interesting, about 4 years ago, somebody did the actual checks on all of these companies, and they narrowed them down to 1,500 people of all the directorships of all of the major companies. And then as they cross-referenced them, they brought it down again, literally, to 10% of that. So it was 150 directors that are on most of all of these companies, influential companies that literally pull the strings around the world. So there's about 150 of them. But however, there is another group that aligns themselves with them, that have been bought and sold by them, and as a result, through them, this particular 150 and then this extended circle around them, they intend to implement this Agenda 21 on the face of the earth. So it is, what I have said here, a satanic global human sacrifice of 6 billion people from off planet Earth by this very secretive cabal. Now, some will say, why would you use that word and call it satanic? I want to tell you, most of these guys, their religion is Satanism. There's no question about that. Many of them, such as the Rothschilds, you will see, they actually wear all the actual goat's head and all the satanic symbolism and the pentagram hanging around their necks and their jewelry. And you will see it. It's very, very plain if you take the time just to do the research. And so they are entitled to their religion as they believe, and as a result of it, just like we are in this world of democracy in which we live. However, they would be the first to protest if we were to begin to influence or try to exert pressure on them to do what we believe. And so we are entitled to begin to stand up and challenge them on what they believe. And I'm telling you, some of the stuff they believe is very, very sinister indeed. So it justifies this term. And if you understand, in Satanism, they believe in sacrificial offerings of animals and blood and so forth like that. So it is very real. It's nothing that is just a suggestion of some weird concept thrown in here. As I said, all of this information is factual and can be substantiated. So let me read this to you. The Club of Rome stated in the 70s in a publication, several of them, but particularly this one here, Mankind at the Turning Point, that birth rates have to be reduced or death rates increased. And you will see here the Max Planck Institute says world population must be reduced to 2 billion maximum in the US. In the USA, there is a monument that is called American Stonehenge. And you will see some of the information there. Get on your internet and you can check it out and you will see it. And if you go there, you will find that it is literally a big erection of a huge monument in the actual border of the state of Georgia in the US. And on those four faces of this granite rock are carved what are called the 10 Commandments for the New World Order, for the actual system of justice that will be implemented once they bring in a total new world order, world government. And those 8 faces are written in all the different languages, the 8 major languages in the world. There is English, there is French, there is Spanish, there is Chinese, there is Jewish or Israeli, there is Arabic, and so there are 8 major languages. Each face records the same wording on each face. You can get on the internet and check it out. So there's some information there that you can go and just refer to. It shows a message etched in this 100-ton granite block that the world population has to be reduced to 500 million. Now that's not the only place this information is recorded. You get on to the UN web page and find a document. It will take a little time to find it, but it's called International Law of Habitat. It talks there how they're going to literally round up people out of the cities and they're going to take them out and as a result put them on reservations like they did with the actual American Indians. And so it's very real and it is going to happen. There is no question about that. So let me just move on quickly. This one here is very, very interesting. Now, what I'm giving you here is a little insight into what we understand as common law. Now, back in the 11th century, when the Magna Carta, the Magnificent Charter is what the Magna Carta actually means, was signed, they forced Prince John, this guy, to actually stand in the fields of Runnymede and sign a document giving the common people the right to justice in a fair trial and to ownership of land and freedom from slavery, because the lords just forced them to work for them, and everything they did, they literally had to beg, borrow, or steal in order to survive. So the actual people of the land came and they forced Prince John and all of his cronies to sign a document to grant freedom back to the people. And you can see in Runnymede today, I've been there, stood there, I've read the document. You can get on the net and read it, the Magna Carta. And as a result, he was forced into signing that to grant people their right to freedom and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, from which the American Constitution is written. Now, I'll get onto that a little later. But this guy here was the man that reluctantly signed it, and they said, if you don't, we'll take you out, we'll kill you. And so he was forced to sign it. The moment that that was signed, he and his cronies and all the lords in London set about in the House of Lords to begin to retrieve the ownership of all land upon the face of the earth again and bring it under the banner of literally the British Empire through the actual Bank of England. And so you will read some document here about all of this. But one of the interesting things is that people have told me, and I've heard this all over the place, been to the States many, many times, people have said to me that America had a heritage of godly presidents and people when they were founded. That is absolute nonsense. And I know that that will bring about some reaction and retaliation, but I'm telling you, you need to read the facts. If you read the facts, people try to tell me that George Washington was a godly man, he was a Christian. Read his books. Take the time to read what he actually stated in his other books. And he actually said that Jesus Christ was an impostor. And as you go through, Benjamin Franklin was another, said there is no way. He honored the man for what he stood for, but there is no way he would agree or endorse what he actually taught. And so I'm telling you, people try and tell me this stuff, and I say it is nonsense. And as a result of it, so what I want to say to you right now is this, that you need to understand America has never had a godly heritage. There are some people who stood for what is right and what is true and what is just like as in every other country. But that country was never formed on the basis of godly men. Now that is absolute fact. You go into the Capitol building, look at all the symbolism that is written and painted in the ceiling, and you will see the pictures of serpents, you will see the pictures of demonic stuff like you would not believe. So I will take anybody to task, I will debate anybody on this, and I tell you, you cannot you cannot and will not be able to substantiate the fact that America was built on a godly foundation on the basis of the truth of what I will present to you, should you give me the time. So, enough on that. But what I want you to understand is, this guy immediately set about to begin to control the entire world and all the wealth and the resources of the world, and to get it back under their control again. And the gentry literally wanted to take it back from the common people. What Prince John was forced to sign was that Magna Carta, what is called the Order of Common Law, law for the common man. But ever since that was implemented, they have literally been trying to attempt to retrieve and take that back from the people. Now, let me just bring you right up to date with this document here. That man is the one that signed the Order of Common Law, the Magna Carta. All of these down here are the actual presidents of the United States of America. Here is a young girl, 12-year-old girl, just last year, only about 6 to 8 months ago. She did a research for her school for a project that she was doing, a thesis. And in her research with her father, who was a curator, I think, or a historian in a museum, he helped her put this together. She tracked back every single one of the family tree of the United States' presidents. And what she found is every single one of them is related in bloodline to this guy here. Every single one by one. And I say to you, they are known as what is called the Merovingian king line of Europe. And what they did, and by the way, just to help you understand, these people that are sitting upon the throne in England right now, you say they're English. No, they are not. They are German. We know them as the House of Windsor. But they changed their name in 1913 in the First World War from the House of Hanover and changed their name to the House of Windsor. They are German kings and royalty. They are part of the royal bloodline of the House of Habsburg, which is known as the Merovingian king line. That's their name, part of the German House of Habsburg. And the House of Habsburg is the royal families of all the kings of Europe, and is headed up by the Rothschilds, who control the entire money flow of the banks around the world. They are all linked, they are all literally intermarried, they're all intermingled. And here, this young girl, Brigitte d'Avignon, literally a 7th grader at Monte Vista Christian School, traced their heritage back, and here it is. Every single one of them are linked to the same bloodline, the same family tree. Now, you may not be aware of it, but the truth of it is Dick Cheney is a cousin. Not first, but certainly a cousin to George Bush. George Bush is a cousin to Obama, and they're all linked together through one bloodline. They have an agenda, and their agenda, as you understand and as I understand now, and it's only becoming plain now for us to see it, because we refused to believe and accept this information in the past, but now it's becoming exposed, and here it is. And it took just a little 12-year-old girl to do it. Tragic that it's come to this. Let me move on. Their intention is to bring the whole world into subjection and control under their totalitarian rule again, and it will be done through the actual means of finance and banking, as you will see as we progress on. See, when I talk about all of these people, they have a similar agenda. Their whole meaning and their whole purpose is to begin to implement a one world order. And as a result, you can go through here, check the information out, and you will find this is all done under Obama's reign within the last short period of time. But it goes right back here mentioning Bill Clinton back in 1995, and it goes way back before then. And as a result of it, they have been working to bring in a one world banking system and take control of all finance, all resources, all money, and all freedom right throughout the entire world. America is the New World Order's police force, and that's who they are destined to become. Let me move on quickly. I've said enough there. Here is some interesting stuff. People talk to me and said, oh, you know, this thing about numbering in the arm and the forehead, it's way, way off, will have no significance for us. I say, you are, if you take that position, not only deaf and dumb, in the sense that you're not speaking out and you're not listening, but you're blind as well, because all you need to know is go and look in the right circles and get onto an internet search engine and you'll find it yourself. Here, I've written several articles on my website there, Omegatimes.com, and they're not very, very accommodating, and they're certainly not very honoring to some of these people. I wrote one article and called them a bunch of weirdos, and they are. They are mentally sick and they are insane to be thinking and doing the things that they are doing. Now, people can challenge that and say that I am very, very caustic. And I say, if you read what they state, you would agree, but you don't read. You see, here is one of them, Ray Kurzweil, who is actually called and known as one of the top leading scientists in our arena right now. He heads up what is called this area of going towards singularity. You say, singularity? What is that? It literally means that they'll put a chip and a computer chip in your brain. You will be controlled and accessible by computer, so you will literally have animal genes in you, human genes in you, and you will have electronic capability of knowledge and wisdom. So you will be a total drone. Now, Ray Kurzweil, he is affectionately known as Mr. Singularity, meaning he is the driving force before and behind all of this drive. And you are much, much closer than you realize to the conclusion of all of this. Now let me just say this, which is frightening in itself, but this whole thing that we are driving towards, do you understand that in London just last year they've given the actual agreement now to be able to mingle 50% animal DNA with human DNA? It's already done. There are people now that literally are no longer human. They're half animal, half human. Now, people say, oh, I don't believe that. Check it out and go into the science pages of your documents of all your major magazines and you'll see it. Listen to what I say. People will not accept the truth because it's so far out. They don't want to believe it. But here, this weird group of people is literally headed up by a division of the Pentagon in the US. It's called DARPA. That stands for DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or America. And so they are into all this weird stuff of genetic engineering, of literally putting computer chips into humans and into animals so they control them. They are literally turning birds and creatures into controllable robots so that they can spy and fly into a room and it's actually got a camera on it and they can control the actual thing. And that's what I say. That's what they're doing, and the people have no idea what's going on, much less do they care. It is here, working with Motorola, they show you how they've literally put this chip, a bendable, washable, silicon, literal fiber, plastic material on your arm, and you're controlled by your actual Motorola phone. Now, on that CD that I've mentioned, it goes into a lot much more detail on there. I do not have the ability to be able to go into it in detail, but it's there. Let me show you the next page which relates to this. And here, it shows you just up here, this tiny, tiny little chip that you swallow. And that is basically your computer mouse. But it's internal, and you have to swallow it, so it's ingested and it's inside. It attaches itself to the wall of your stomach or bowel, and as a result will enter into your bloodstream, and literally, through your brain, you actually control everything externally through your mobile phone. And I'll show you that in a moment. But this is what I'm saying. People have no idea what is going on. And when I talk about this stuff, people sit in an audience and a congregation of people, and they laugh and they say, "Are you mad?" And I'm saying to them, you have no idea how far advanced this stuff is. And what I'm trying to do here is to bring you to the understanding that we are told that the future will be controlled so that no one can buy or sell or conduct any form of business unless he is part of a banking cartel and literally under the control of a new world order. And here it is, and this is what it's all about. So I've said enough there just to whet your appetite. It's up to you to begin to go in and search this out. But here it is. DARPA again is the one that's behind all of this. You see, all this stuff that's being passed as legislation, see, this is no longer coming. It is now international law from the International Criminal Law Court in The Hague. And as a result, you now can be charged and imprisoned for up to 5 years in respect of all of this stuff with these legislative laws they're bringing into power. Now, here's an interesting one. You see, everywhere you travel now, throughout the states and throughout the world, you'll see the US flag is like this. Do you understand that flag is a military flag? Do you understand that's what's called the flag for martial law? It's actually, the flag symbolized a ship sailing on the sea. It is not to be allowed to be shown on land. And as a result, written into the US Constitution, this flag flown on land is literally a treasonable offence. But you will see this flown all over the actual buildings, all throughout the government offices, everywhere in the States now. And what it is actually saying, and people have no idea, this is the flag showing that martial law, nautical law, law of the sea, is now applicable on the land. And as I said, it's totalitarianism. You just haven't caught up with the facts yet. But you can check this out. Admiralty law is what it is known as in law. And as a result, you think world government and world legislation and law is coming? You're way behind the times. It's already been passed. Back in 1999, it was drawn up under the direction of Mikhail Gorbachev when he moved into the American Presidium in San Francisco, and then it was tabled on 2001, on 23rd of March in Davao at the World Forum, and literally what is known as the Earth Charter, which is that document now is enforceable through the International Criminal Law Court to everybody on Earth. And as I said, nobody understands this. Read this here in the American Constitution. It is a mutilation, and it is literally a treasonable offence to fly that, but the public know nothing. As we round this up, see, they intend to take all your land, all your property, all your houses under a law that's been implemented under world law, and it is socialism, and it is literally becoming the fact that everything is socialized and is owned by the government. You just lease it or rent it. So consequently, it is called eminent domain. It is here in Australia, it's in every nation on earth, and it is literally prosecutable under the International Criminal Law Court in The Hague. So quickly, here's an interesting one, talks about the courts. If you understand the documents that your lawyers sign, they say that they are an agent of the court before they're an agent of a servant to serve you. When you read that document in the legislation, they are not allowed to give you advice. It's up to you to tell them what to do, but you don't know, so they can control everything you do, and as a result of the advice they give you, you rely on it thinking that they're doing you a service. No, no, they are working as an agent of the court. Cronyism, that's what it's called. Here's an interesting one. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but you're talking about a chip. Look at this. Israeli death chip. Get on your computer and check it out. It is manufactured by Hitachi. It is smaller than a grain of powder. I don't have a lot of time to go into it, but there it is sitting on the person's thumb. You can't even see it. It's smaller than a grain of powder. These are different variations of it. But there's the one, and once you ingest that, It's put on your tablets and everything, and it controls you and literally reports your every movement to the authorities via your mobile phone. You don't believe it? Well, there it is. They can switch off that switch, and what it does, it changes the rhythms, the circadian rhythms of your body, and literally it will cause you to have a heart attack. And they literally can switch you off. You go into it, check it out. Here's some more on it. I don't want to go into that in a great deal, but there it is there. See what they're doing on your tablets, on your medication? There it is. And as a result of it, if you don't take your medication, it will automatically dial your doctor or your medical authorities and report you. And you will have a visit by the police at your door. And it's literally developed by Proteus Digital Health, a pharmaceutical and a mobile phone working together, company working together, and that's what they're doing. You can go into that, it's Motorola. Now, as I said to you before, here are these four big stone platforms. You've got a face there and a face there. There's one face pointing south, one pointing north, one pointing east, and another one over the back pointing west. And here it is, our population at this present moment of time, and here is what it states down here. And the 10 commandments of the New World Order written on each of those faces. Down here, the number 1 says, maintain humanity under 500 million by perpetual balance with nature. Now, I won't go into that for want of time, but check it out. Here it ends by saying, with a quote at the end, be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Check it out, you'll see what I'm saying. Here are some of the things that most people will not believe, but however, this document down here, interesting, Operation Northwoods document. Do you know what the Chief of Staff did back in JFK's day? They got together and they literally formulated a document that would give them the right to fly to false flag planes. What do I mean false flag? Flying under the actual jurisdiction of some other nation, crash them into the Twin Towers and literally kill all the people on board and then blame it onto another nation. It's called Operation Northwoods document. Check it out. That was done, and it is still in government and still in power now by the military Chief of Staff of the Pentagon. So, let me just quickly, as I round this up, here are the things that we are going to be facing. Now, this is already passed. All this stuff here, people tell me that Obama and Bush and all the rest of them, they're all Christians. Go and check the facts out and don't talk so much absolute junk. The truth of it is that these people make these stories up and then they validate it and they say all the niceties. But the truth of it is that we are told that we are to not just hear what a person says, but check out how they live. And you'll soon see whether they're real or not. So, this is an interesting one. When I was literally in Brussels just a few months ago, I actually was there while this was taking place. And you'll see the document here and all the information relating to it. So, euthanasia now for children nears approval by the Belgian Parliament. Here it is, June 12, 2013. And as a result, while we were there, they were passing this legislation. So, if you go on there and check this out, very few people even know it. But it is now, remember, Brussels, the head of the EU. So it's not just Brussels, it's through the EU. And you can elect to literally have your life terminated. A group of police will come around with a doctor, they will initiate you with an injection, that's it, you're over. And it's happening, and the actual numbers are just doubling each month now. And as a result of it, here, a child under the age of 3 cannot elect to have his life terminated, but the moment he hits 3 years of age, he can choose that option, and you as a parent can do nothing about it. This is serious stuff, and people have no idea what's going on. Look at this. Now, it's all fact, all the detail, all the information is there. Ebola, all of them. Biological weapons manufactured in the laboratories in Massachusetts by the US Pentagon and the US government. It's all the facts there. You say, I find that hard to believe. Well, you better just follow through quickly as I just bring this up. See, when you read through here, here's what Kissinger said. Today Americans would be outraged if UN troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Tomorrow they will be grateful. This is especially true if they were told there was an outside threat from beyond, whether real or promulgated. That threatened our very existence. It is then that all the peoples of the world will pledge with the world leaders to deliver them from this evil. The one thing that every man fears is the unknown. When presented with a scenario, individual rights will willingly be relinquished with the guarantee of their freedom and well-being granted to them by a world government. Back in 1991, that's happening right now in the States. All the US troops are all there. 389,000 foreign troops literally are stationed in America right now. So here is one of the driving forces behind this Agenda 21. As I quickly go through here, you will see all these things down here, how they have literally manufactured all these different antiviruses and all the rest of it. And what it was population control. Thousands and whole nations and whole generations of kids were literally just made infertile, unable to have children because of this absolute insanity. There's a whole lot of things here about Monsanto that I won't and don't have the time to go in. Here's a very interesting thing that happened in China. I don't have the time to go into that, but it's very interesting. But each one of us, as I just bring up these two things, you will understand. Get on your internet and check this out. Codex Alimentaris. It is literally controlling and is going to control all of your herbs, everything, your health products, and it is now international law. If you get caught selling any of your veggies and things like this, you can go to prison for 5 years. And it's being implemented right around the world right now. Here's another one. Look at this. Medical condition called anti-government phobia. Read that through and just see that it's telling you this is now a diagnosable mental health condition. And as a result of it, you will be imprisoned and put into incarceration in a mental institution so that you will not affect others. This is what we're facing, folks. And I say again, here it is. You will see at Omegatimes.com is where you can go and get a whole update on all of the things I've been saying. And if you want that actual data CD and many others that I have produced, they are real top quality. And as a result of it, you can begin to access us through that and through these bits of information that we're trying to get out to help you catch up to speed with all of this stuff. So thank you. Good day.